was a question I got recently. How can I tackle my insomnia for good? And just as I promised, I told you I was going to make this into a YouTube video, and we're going to be answering that question or helping you to ask the right question. So the issue is that people ask this question really wrongly. And I promise you today, I'm going to help debunk this myth of tackling insomnia. And I'm going to also be helping you figure out what exactly it is that you need to empower yourself to actually figure out what you need to do to identify what's getting in your way and also help you to tackle insomnia for good. This is a video you're going to have to save. This is a video you're going to have to share with those in your community, because we're going to be talking about what actually works. And by the end of this video, everything you've been trying to do that has not worked is really going to be something we'll be putting aside and embracing what really works when it comes to insomnia. And so again, the question people ask is, what can I do to make myself sleep at night? How do I force myself to sleep? How do I fall asleep fast? How do I tackle insomnia? How do I shut up my brain, right? And that is the wrong question. Why is that the wrong question? Well, it's assuming that insomnia is something you need to fight and conquer. And so when you start to talk about tackle, beat, conquer, fight, it implies you have to be the one doing something to fix your sleep struggles. And this is the issue. Insomnia or sleep is not something that you can control in that sense. You know, thinking that if I just sleep hard enough or try hard enough or use the right sleep hacks or the right sleep solution, I can make myself sleep. And that myth might be appealing, but it ends up being that we're using this effort, and the harder we work, we think we'll get the results. So exercising more means getting fitter, right? Eating more means getting healthier, or eating better means getting healthier. So you will assume that, oh yes, trying harder to sleep means getting better sleep. And this is the cruel irony. Sleep is one thing in life where more effort actually backfires. And the harder you try to sleep, the more elusive it becomes. In fact, your arousal system now prevents you from sleeping, and you end up creating exactly the opposite of what you want. So why does more effort not equate to more sleep? Well, the issue is that when it comes to sleeping, it's really about letting go. Sleep is something you allow, not something you make happen. So it's like falling in love or relaxing. You can't force yourself. And the more you try to control it, the more you try to, create a circumstance where you're the one in charge, the more elusive it becomes. And what happens is that you may get into what we call the performance loop, right? I need to sleep tonight. Am I asleep? If I don't sleep well, I'm going to fail. Is it working? How about now? How about now? Trying different positions, trying different breathing techniques, trying to count sheep. Every attempt at making sleep happen ends up tensing you up. And then now you tell yourself, relax now. And then it doesn't work because now you're trying to sleep. And your prefrontal cortex, that part that has to do with thinking, that part that has to do with monitoring, that part that has to do with controlling is now so active that it makes it really hard for your mind to quiet down. And you being actively engaged in that sleep process are essentially preventing your brain to get to a state that is needed for sleep. So let me give you some examples. I have had people come who say, I've tried everything. I mean, most of the patients that I see, I've tried a new mattress, I've tried the latest yoga technique, different pillows, different fragrances. I've done all the sleep hygiene tips perfectly. And those people are my perfect clients, right? Because I know that you've gotten to the end of your rope and you've realized that everything I'm doing is clearly not working. And most of the time, these are the people that I work with where we say, well, you've done everything right. And this is something that just doesn't seem to be working. Been trying, you've been doing, you've been controlling, especially when you're someone who's more of a type A individual. Today, like I said before, we're going to talk about what actually works. And it starts with a paradigm shift. And I want you to go from that place of saying, how can I make myself sleep? To saying, how can I get out of the way so that my body can sleep? Because your body wants to sleep. Your body is actually biologically programmed to be able to sleep. So you need to stop interfering. And that's really what we're talking about. It's really a paradigm shift. It's a mindset shift. And I had a teenager that I saw recently who said, when I started with that mindset shift, Dr. Brown, I was actually now able to sleep. And I'm like, wow, you got it, right? So it's not so much how or what you're doing. It's really you telling yourself that your sleep system is not broken, that it's your efforts to try to sleep that is really maintaining that insomnia. And so this is really what I recommend. Stop trying to sleep. Let go of the effort. Let go of the struggle. Remove that pressure. Like, shh. And in your mind, it might sound like you're giving up. It may sound like you're quitting. Like, am I giving up on myself? No, you're giving up on the fight. And fighting is what is keeping your insomnia alive. If there's anything that you're doing that is getting in your way of good sleep, it is fighting to keep that insomnia. It is fighting to avoid that insomnia. And the more you try to avoid it, the more it comes to you. This is really the philosophy that I want us to tackle. And over the next few videos, we're going to be talking about the different elements of cognitive behavioral therapy and why that is a proven and effective solution, because it's going against that paradigm shift of I need to do it to saying, I'm going to get out of my own way. And so the real approach is about you creating conditions, not forcing the outcomes. So here are a few things that I want you to do instead. Work with those three systems, right? We've talked about those systems in the past, the three systems that regulate your sleep, right? What are they? The sleep drive, really setting a consistent wake time, setting an appropriate wake up time, setting a consistent bedtime, making sure that you're in bed for, what feels true to you, giving yourself the adequate sleep opportunity, maintaining that sleep drive so that in the evening you feel like you've increased your sleep drive enough to help you fall asleep, right? That's one thing you can control, amount of time you spend in bed. The second part of your sleep system is that circadian rhythm, right? The light exposure, the consistent sleep schedule, making sure that you're out and about, making sure that you have regular meal times, regular physical activity. Those are things that are within your control. Every other thing is out of your control, right? That is a way you can create conditions that can make sleep happen. The third system is that arousal system, letting go of the struggle, letting go of the try, moving from that place where your sympathetic system is going from the fight flight mode to the rest, right? Moving from sympathetic to parasympathetic. This is where sleep actually happens naturally. You're not forcing sleep, you're just essentially removing the obstacles that are getting in your way of sleep. So that's the one thing that I think really honoring those sleep systems, making them work for you, right? The second piece that I want you to work towards is changing your relationship with sleep. I have people that now, they're at the point where towards evening, they start to get nervous. Oh my goodness, I must sleep. So I want you to go to saying, I must sleep, to saying, you know what? I prefer to sleep. Sleep is the goal, but rest is okay. I may not be able to fall asleep right away, but I might rest. Instead of saying, I need 8 hours to function. I need 8 hours to function. If I don't get my 8 hours, it's going to be, all hell is going to break loose. I want you to shift to saying, my body will get the sleep it needs. My body will get the rest it needs. And literally this shift can break that cycle of your desperate, intense, and unpleasant relationship with sleep. That's really it. It's a desperate, unpleasant relationship with sleep that's perpetuating your insomnia. And then the third thing is really getting out of bed when you can't sleep, especially when you notice that your entire arousal system is on, it's firing on all cylinders. You're in that, like, my heart is racing, it feels like my heart is pumping in my ears, and understanding that getting out of bed is not a technique to make you sleep, because I've heard people now fall apart and say, well, I got out of bed and I didn't sleep. No, 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 no. Absolutely not. This is the big thing that a lot of people miss. Getting out of bed is not in an effort to make you sleep. It's in an effort to help you stop fighting wakefulness. It's a huge difference. Getting out of bed is not an effort to make you sleep. It's an effort, and it's a way to help you stop fighting wakefulness, because the issue is you're so uncomfortable with that state of wakefulness that it's now turning around to fight you. So getting out of bed is a way to say, you know what? I'm awake. I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to embrace this as my little quiet time, and I'm going to remove the struggle that I'm having with that state of wakefulness. And this way, your bed becomes associated with sleep and not just this frustration that you're having with being awake. Okay? And you might need to rewind that and play it again. And then when you start to really feel sleepy, when you start to feel an ease come up, when you start to feel more relaxed, then go back to sleep. Okay? So that's the third thing. It's really around getting out of bed when you're not able to sleep, but understanding that you're doing this not because you want to make yourself sleep, right? And of course, you want to make yourself sleep, but remember, you can't make yourself sleep. You can only create conditions that can make sleep happen. If you ask somebody who's a good sleeper and say, wait, what do you do to make yourself sleep? They will look at you like you have two heads. Like, I don't know, I just sleep, right? So that's something you have to understand. Sleep is not something you make yourself do. Sleep is something that you create conditions whereby you are now able to sleep. Okay. And then number 4 is stop monitoring, tracking, evaluating. Am I sleepy? Is sleep coming? Is it here? What time is it? How much deep sleep did I get? How much light sleep did I get? All those things create this anxiety, because you now start to judge yourself, and you now start to judge each night either as a success or a fail. I had a good night. I had a bad night. Okay, I need to do better, right? It starts to feel like a test or a quiz that you need to pass. You can let sleep happen while you live your best life. What are the things you enjoy doing? So that if you had a bad night of sleep, you don't feel like, okay, this day is totally going to waste. It's a negative mindset that will not help your next night. But if you say, you know what, it was a tough night, but, I'm just going to live my best life. I'm just going to do the things I enjoy, do the things that give me pleasure, instead of tracking. Am I tired? Is that tiredness because I didn't sleep well? Do I need more coffee? You're now constantly on that fight flight response that makes it even harder for you to sleep. So really about stop that monitoring. And this is why with a lot of my patients and a lot of my clients at the Restful Sleep Place, I'm just like, stop tracking. Don't track your sleep, because sometimes we perseverate about the data. We forget to listen to ourselves. And when we listen to ourselves, we realize that, oh, even though I didn't sleep that well, I'm actually okay. But if you're so obsessed with the data, sometimes that gets in your way of enjoying that and understanding that. And then the final thing I want you to do is really address what you can control. What's within your control? Your schedule is within your control. Your wind down routine is within your control. Your thoughts and the thoughts you accept about sleep is within your control. You can't control the thoughts that come or the thoughts that are being offered to you, right? It's just like you can't control the birds that are flying over your head. But you can control your thoughts and your beliefs about sleep. You can choose to accept certain thoughts and choose to let some thoughts go. That's within your control. Making yourself sleep is not within your control. And then you also can control your behavioral response to sleep or to wakefulness. You cannot control your sleep. You cannot control making yourself fall asleep, but you can control that response, what you do about it. So I think that's really important. So really taking hold and focusing on the things that are within your control. And then, of course, you want to do the things that will give you joy during the day. You want to manage stress. You want to do practice some mindfulness. You want to build tolerance for discomfort. You want to make sure that you remove the pressure around your ability or inability to sleep. Really remove the pressure and live your best life. And this is why cognitive behavioral therapy, which is really the first line therapy for insomnia, is so powerful. It's really not about making you learn how to sleep, because you know how to sleep. You do. I promise you, your sleep system is not broken. You know exactly what you need to do to sleep. It's not about teaching you CBTI, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. It's not about teaching you to sleep. It's actually not about making you fall asleep. It's about teaching you to get out of your way. It's about giving you the strategies and the tools you need where you are not inadvertently interfering with your ability to sleep. It's about changing your mindset and your approach to making sleep something that you can now do without thinking about it. And it's about stopping the fight, but rather accepting where you are and then moving stuff forward. It's about stopping that state of doing and embracing that state of being. And really, again, it is about how to stop worrying, perseverating, but rather to start to accept where you are and then from there move forward. So that's why cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia is so powerful. So back to that question, I want to tackle insomnia permanently. When you move from tackling insomnia, which is really fighting that state of wakefulness, to embracing and accepting wakefulness as something that you do, some situations, but now moving to that state of acceptance where you're living your best life and you're not allowing your sleep issues control your life. That's when you tackle insomnia. So I hope this has been incredibly helpful. It has been something that I have been looking forward to sharing with you. And so when I saw that question come up, I'm like, yes, that's a sign that we need to talk about it. And of course, I'm not going to leave you hanging. What is CBTI? What are things that I can do on my own? How do I even start? We're going to be talking about all of that. So this is why you have to connect. You have to subscribe to our channel so that once those videos come up, you would be the first to know. So I hope this again has been helpful. If it has, share this link, subscribe to my channel. I would love that because you help me to get the word out. And until next time, I hope you rest well.